Hello, Catanians. No, this is not the Panama Canal that is already in the history books. This is, of course, the Great Canal, one of the two Cities and Nights special scenarios that you can play on Catan Universe. And quick note, I am sorry for the lack of in-game audio. Of course, sometimes when I bring the footage from my phone to the computer to edit, the audio gets lost in transition. I don't know why that happens, but it does. So we're going to go ahead and play the Great Canal scenario. We're just going to do a little practice with the computers. And starting off with the rules, this scenario is played according to the rules of the expansion Cities and Knights and Seafarers without the pirate, so just the robber. The first player to reach 21 victory points in a 3-player game or 18 victory points in this 4-player game on his turn wins. The reform rule for the robber applies. The robber may only be moved only upon or after the first barbarian attack. Additional rules set up phase. Each player starts with 2 settlements and 1 city, so just like in the other scenario, Enchanted Land. On the home island, all players first build a settlement, then a city, and a second settlement. At least one of these has to be built on the coast, just like in Enchanted Land. If a player builds a settlement or city at the coast, he has to place a ship there. The lake in the east does not count as coast. Each player receives the resources of the terrain hexes that surround the last settlement he has built. Also grain for an infertile fields hex. New tasks for the knights. Knights may only be built on the home island. In this scenario, they are used in multiple ways. Used as canal builders. As soon as at least 2 activated knights stand on the intersections of a marked terrain hex, a canal is excavated. If the activated knights belong to one player, he receives 2 victory points. If the activated knights belong to different players, each of the 2 players receives 1 victory point. This action does not deactivate the knights. Please note the canal is built immediately after the second knight is activated. Therefore, it is not possible for a third player to activate a knight around the hex before the canal is built. The strength of a knight does not matter for canal building. Uses gold diggers. If a player has a ship route to an intersection of a gold field on the small islands, he may move a knight onto this intersection. As long as the knight stands on this intersection, the player receives any 1 resource of his choice each time, and 8 is rolled. For the player to receive the resource, the knight does not have to be activated. If a player has 2 knights at a gold field, he still only receives 1 resource of his choice when an 8 is rolled. 3. Uses merchants. Finally caught up here a little bit. If a player has moved a knight onto a harbor intersection of the small islands, he may use the advantage of the corresponding special harbor. For the player to use this advantage, the knight does not have to be activated. Important, the knights on the small islands do not count for defense against the barbarians. Completion of the canal. There are 9 canal sections in total. It is if only one, that's a typo, should be if. If only one section is missing at the end of a turn, it is built automatically. No victory points are awarded for this. Now the fields produce grain again. The knights on the small islands lose their function as gold diggers, but retain their function as a merchant. Other rules. No settlement may be built on the small islands. So that's where the gold and the ports are, or at least some of the ports. Contrary to the rules of the Seafarer expansion, ship routes may branch out, ship routes may not branch out in this scenario. The irrigation card is also resolved if the respective fields are still infertile. And then it tells you, once again, 3 players, you go into 21 victory points. 4 players, interestingly, you're going less, only to 18 victory points. So if you need to scan those rules again, just pause and rewind the video, go back and see what's going on. But I'll try to give you guys a good, thorough, in-depth video here. So for my starting settlement, I'm going to go on the 6 and the pair of 9. So every time a 9 is rolled, I'll get a road with the lumber and the brick. And also, I apologize, when reading the rules, when playing on the app, certain areas of the screen are just cut off. Like hopefully they fix that in the Catan Universe 2.1.0 update, but some of the words are cut off when you're trying to read the rules. On the web browser version and Steam version, I imagine you don't have that issue. And in fact, there are 9 canal hexes, or hexes with the canal, and they all need to be excavated. And as it was stated in the rules, let's say 8 of the 9 canal hexes get excavated, the 9th one will automatically be excavated as soon as that 8th one finishes getting excavated. And it doesn't matter your knight strength, as long as you have at least 2 activated knights on a canal spot. And of course, you can see that the canal spots are obvious because if you look at any of the 11 sheep, the 6 lumber, the 9 brick, the 3 sheep, the 4 brick, they have 2 little markers on them. So that's denoting a canal spot. So if you got put a level 1 knight down on one of those spots, activated it, and then you promoted it to a level 2 knight, you still would not be able to excavate that particular hex. You would have to then build a second knight of any strength and activate it. So that is the key to keep in mind. And you see at the bottom of the screen that I may have panned down to here and there, you see there's a wood port off that desert hex on the bottom left. If you build a ship out to that wood port and then you place a knight there, then you can take advantage of using the knight as a merchant, where then you could then trade in lumber at a 2-for-1 rate. And I'll try to showcase that later in this video just to cover all my bases. And you see the wheat hexes are currently infertile. So orange did a good thing, same with gray. They actually built one of their settlements touching a wheat hex, and they will start off with a wheat. So that is something to keep in mind. If you play the Great Canal scenario, you're not going to be getting wheat for a long time. You're going to have to trade in for it, which is why it's almost crucial to be like, I believe gray built on a port on the main island. And there's a couple 3-for-1 ports. There's actually 3 of them we can see right now on the right side of the screen. So you see that gray actually built on the one of the 3-for-1 ports. Orange is close to it, but they didn't quite build on it because they wanted to get down that 5 sheep's 8 lumber. So you almost need to build on a port, or you need to be aggressive about getting cloth for Yellow City improvements so you then can get merchant and trade in any of the other 4 resources at a 2-for-1 rate, depending on where you place the merchant on one of your resource hexes. Because once the canal is fully completed, once those 9 hexes are excavated, then the infertile wheat hexes will then become fertile, and then people will want to go build on them to then gain wheat as a production resource hex. So something to keep in mind. And also at the bottom of your screen, currently not shown, but you'll see it later, there's 2 8 gold hexes. You see one right there off the desert hex. And if you build ships all the way out to there, then place a knight that's touching the 8 gold hex, every time an 8 gets rolled, you get a resource of your choice. And generally, in my opinion, you would only want to build out there to do that mainly to get wheat, because you're getting all the other resources. And if you build 2 settlements in one city to start a game off, you're probably going to end up on all the 4 resources besides wheat. You know, your lumber, your brick, your sheep, and your ore. So mainly the 8 gold will probably only be used to gather wheat, because you're going to need that to build your settlements, upgrade settlements to cities, activate your knights, stuff like that. So basically this game, in this scenario, go for ports, get out to gold hexes, and of course you cannot build on those gold hexes. You can't place settlements there. You can't upgrade them to cities, because that is another rule of this game. You can't build on any of the small islands at the bottom of your screen. You can only use knights out there to take advantage of ports and gold hexes. And additionally, any knights that are built on those small islands do not count towards the knight strength being used to battle off the barbarians. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And if I read the rule correctly, building ships out to those small islands, you cannot branch off your ship routes. They have to be built in one continuous fashion. And additionally, any settlement or city that's built on the coastline on the main island that you see with my placement on the 5-8 ore, I had to build a ship off of my coastal settlement or city placement. Same with gray, same with orange, and blue might have one at the top of your screen, because I believe they built on that 6 lumber on the coastline up there. So just another thing to keep in mind. So I was able to cut off blue early on. I placed my knight at the intersection of the 3 sheep, 5-10 ore, and then I built the road because I wanted to be the one to get on that 5-10 ore spot and hopefully get merchant later down the line to put it on one of my ore hexes, because I now have 3 ore hexes. And Also, by building 2 settlements in one city, you're probably going to get very good number diversity. So you see that I have a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, 8, 9, and 10. So I'm really not going to have any issues too much about resource production. It's just going to come down to trying to make trades because no one else really has wheat, and trying to trade in for stuff. I'll be having to do a lot of 4-for-1 trades in order to advance in the game. So a very interesting scenario. It's a special scenario. I'm not sure if it's going to hang around for a while. Same with Enchanted Land. Enchanted Land was fun, with battling dragons as a alternate way to win. If you battled 6 dragons, you would win the game instead of just going to the set amount of victory points needed. And with that knight promotion, blue had us tie against the barbarians. So if they invade, then we are safe, which is very, very good. But yeah, this scenario, it's very interesting. I think if more people play it, especially online, I don't know how many people are playing either of these 2 special scenarios online, but if they do, then maybe Catan Universe will keep it around. But definitely after I play maybe a couple games, maybe I'll try to play a couple games online. I believe I have to activate a scroll, and that will allow me to play this scenario online with players on Catan Universe for a limited time. So I could do that. I only have 1 scroll left, but I guess I could always buy some more. Then I could kind of get a feel for how much people like this game, how many people are actually playing. But I definitely think that I'm going to use my Catan Gold to buy Rise of the Inca as another expansion instead of just buying these 2 special scenarios. So on to Gray. Gray already has Yellow City Improvements Level 2 and Blue City Improvements Level 2. And mostly, it's very similar to Cities and Knights. Just imagine playing Cities and Knights without wheat for most of the game. And that's kind of what you have going on here. And thankfully, they give you other options with the gold at the bottom of your screen and the ports you can go build to. And, put your knights on and be able to access them there. So it's again just a very interesting scenario. I'm just not quite sure how popular it's going to prove to be, because if you read the description all the way at the bottom in the rules, I believe it said this idea was created in 2004. So it's been around for like 16 years, which is crazy, and I've never heard about it in all my 4 maybe 5 years of playing Catan now. So now I kind of have to go an indirect way. I have to try to gather resources from other players and trades to get 4 of something else to trade it in for the wheat that I need. And so now I'm up to 3 ore once again. So if I get another ore roll or an ore trade, then I'll be able to 4-for-1 the ore for the wheat, and I'll be able to build the settlement on the 510. But either way, you do have to go to 18 victory points in this 4-player game. So I would say the name of the game is, get 1 or 2 cities and then try to get a metropolis as quickly as you can, because you see, we just lost to the barbarians and we're going to have a hard time trying to protect our cities. So I think metropolises are even more important than they would be in normal Cities and Knights. Because yes, they're going to boost your head in victory points, but just being able to protect your city from the barbarians because of such a drought of wheat, essentially, that's why metropolises are going to be so important. Of course, the robber's going right on my 5 ore, which would bring me 2 ore and a coin. But yeah, after I have the city and maybe get the blue metropolis, then I can start thinking about trying to get a city on the 699 so that I can then get green city improvements. And another thing with this scenario, with only getting blue progress cards, you're going to be on the struggle bus for a while. As you see, will be the case for me most of this game, because yellow city improvements are going to help you do trade-ins and steal resources from other players way better than blue progress cards. That's just the nature of the progress card and what's in each stack. As well as green progress cards are going to allow you to do things like road building, alchemists, when you need certain rolls to happen so you can keep your knights activated, and doing those 4-for-1 trades. as well as, irrigation would only help if you did build on a infertile wheat hex at the beginning of the game like orange and gray did. And in the rules, it did say irrigation will still net you wheat if you play it, even though the canal has not been fully built. And speaking of the canal, that is actually another huge strategic element of this particular scenario. Because as you read, each time a canal hex is excavated, if only one player did it with 2 activated knights, that player gets 2 victory points just for excavating that canal. Let's say that I did it with Gray on the 6 lumber, kind of in the middle of your screen. If Gray activates that knight and then I build a road off my settlement, down towards another spot on the 6 lumber, and then I activate that knight, then we would immediately each get 1 singular victory point because we both helped out 50-50 in excavating that canal. So I think not only getting a metropolis to protect your city, maybe that's what you do as soon as you can, and then after that, you just start excavating as many canals as you can. Because let's say you excavate 3 canals. I know maybe that's would be a kind of a tougher thing to do in an online match, but with computers here, I'm just showing you kind of how things play out. But if you excavated 3 canals on your own, that'd be 6 victory points. And remember, in a 4-player game, we're only going to 18 victory points. So a third of your victory points would just come from activating a couple knights throughout the game. That's really, really good, especially if you're able to kind of connect your roads up in a continuous fashion along a couple different canal spaces. That you can activate 2 knights on 1 canal hex, and then once you got those 2 victory points, you could then later reactivate those knights and move them to a different canal hex and then get those 2 victory points. But of course, you'd be competing against other players who are trying to do the same thing potentially. But I think that might be the best kind of strategy just from an initial playthrough and impressions of the scenario. Get some very good starting spots, of course. Get a metropolis as fast as you can to protect your city. Then try to win as many canal excavation victory points as you can. And then after that, maybe go on down to the 8 gold once you have some spare lumber and sheep to build ships, so you can then get some more wheat to maybe build your second city and work on possibly even a second metropolis. That is the name of the game. Now, any way you slice it, I think a 3-player game to 21 victory points is going to take a long time. Yes, there's less players to be building on this style board, because I believe in the Great Canal it's the same setup every time, just different. The numbers and hexes are moved around a little bit. But going to 21 victory points with a huge lack of wheat is going to take a long time. This is kind of like that basic Catan scenario you can play on Catan Universe called Ore for Wool, where I believe ore is like basically non-existent on the board. There's maybe like 2 ore hexes and they're not even that good. This is kind of like that, where wheat is basically non-existent and you have to try to play the game with 1 resource basically taken away from you for most of the game. Of course, in this scenario, it's like, it's like Ore for Wool, but like turned way up to 11. But you do have the potential to get the wheat back once you build out all the 9 canal hexes, which is the one way everyone's working together to do that. But at the same time, you're competing with each other, because each person who excavates each canal hex is going to be rewarded, solely in victory points, whereas the other players will ultimately benefit from the wheat hexes becoming fertile once again. So I'll go ahead and roll the dice. There goes a 9. So I get another road. So that's another good thing. Build on a lot of lumber and brick, but also build on a lot of sheep and ore, so you can do a bunch of roads, so you have more spaces to build knights on later. So if I can potentially get my roads to swing around the 6 lumber and up to the 11 sheep, I'm in actually a very good spot to try to help Gray excavate those 2 hexes, so to get to share in victory points with that. But also, once I build on the 11 sheep, I could then have basically full unfettered access to all the wheat hexes that will soon, well, not soon, but later in the game, become fertile again. And you see at the beginning of the game what numbers each of those wheat hexes are. So that is something else to keep in mind when you're placing your initial settlements in city. Keep in mind what numbers the wheat hexes are. So if you're kind of close or you have the potential to build out there later, remember which of where the 6 wheat was, for example, so you can kind of try to be in a position later in the game to be able to build there without having to build, like 5 or 6, 7, 8 roads, but in more of a better position where you only have to you only have to use less cards to get to that good wheat hex. Of course, with the 2 roads down the 6 lumber, I could build the settlement there. I could continue to build roads over to the 11 sheep, but I could also, if I place a settlement there, build ships out to that lumber port, and that's just another good spot in this specific randomized board where I could build out to that lumber port, place a knight there, and then I could be trading in lumber at a 2-for-1 rate. Okay, so there goes an 8 roll from blue. We do get some more ore, and they did have crane, which is very lucky. Sometimes in this scenario, you only have 1 city out on the board. And it's hard to get a second city because you need 2 wheat. So with crane, you can get 1 city improvement of a different color from commodities you're not receiving because you're only built on, with 1 city, only getting 1 commodity coming in, like I was with the 5-8. But now I had to burn that city because I couldn't protect the city. And then there goes Warlord coming in at a crucial moment. So there are some good blue progress cards for this specific special scenario, like Warlord. Bishop will also help. Deserter is also very crucial. So honestly, I feel that in this specific scenario, blue progress cards actually have more value to me. They're more important in this specific scenario because you're not getting a lot of wheat. So Warlord can activate your knights for free. Deserter can steal the knights away from people, and then you can use those knights not only to protect your city, but also if you have roads built out to you canal areas that you haven't yet excavated, you could place those received deserted knights onto those next to those new canal hexes that are still waiting to be excavated. So as of yet, no canal hexes have been excavated, but I spoke too soon. That 3 sheep right in the middle of your screen has been excavated. So that's 1 of 9. And of course, we only basically need to excavate 8. The 9th one will automatically be excavated as per the rules. And I was able to get a city back out on the board. I put it on the 699 this time. Although I was super close to getting the blue metropolis, I'm still just trying to showcase to you guys how this scenario goes down. So now I want to start getting green progress cards and then show you how that influences my gameplay, how good they do compared to the blue progress cards I've been getting. And the blue progress cards, again, very, very good to get, Warlord, which I just got, Bishop, Spy, Deserter, and Wedding will also help as well. And just getting more resources of the lumber, brick, sheep, and ore varieties so you can continue to 4-for-1 those, or maybe even 3-for-1. So actually, I'm kind of heavily leaning towards building on a 3-for-1 port to start this game off, because building on the 3-for-1 port is going to allow you to make more trades throughout the game, as opposed to, me, who's having to make them at a 4-for-1 rate. And I've been having to do so, and we're here, almost halfway through the game now. So with the robber, no point in placing a wheat hex because those aren't producing anything. So I'll go ahead, steal a cloth from gray, so I will be able to get to yellow city improvements level 1. And that commercial harbor I received was off of tying for the barbarian, defending against barbarians. So that's the only reason I got commercial harbor there. And I'm going to wait to see if some more commodities get produced for other players before I go ahead and use commercial harbor. Plus, I just now got a 3rd resource in my hand. So if I want to get a maximum of 3 commodities, I have to make sure I have 3 resources to give away, 1 to each player, assuming each player has a commodity. But I did finally get a paper, so now I can hopefully get a second paper, get Green City Improvements Level 2. And how come I have not mentioned the science bonus once this whole game? The science bonus is going to be even more critical, so you can keep getting a wheat almost every 4 dice rolls, pretty much. Meaning, like, by the time the dice come back around to you for your turn, the science bonus will pretty much guarantee that you'll be able to select a wheat, because most of the time you may not have been built on almost every number, so chances are every 4 dice rolls, at least one of them will be a number that you don't have, and it won't be a 7, so you'll then get to take advantage of the science bonus. So with that said, I'll actually just even modify my strategy that's kind of coming about as I think more about this scenario. Get the metropolis as fast as you can, and if you can, build the city on lumber hexes so you can get the green metropolis as fast as you can, not only to protect that city, but also to take advantage of science bonus. And plus, all those green progress cards are really going to help you out in this specific scenario. With road building, you might be able to cut people off early on to get to other canal hexes and then build knights on those later. Plus, it's just the science bonus. I've always loved the science bonus. In this scenario, it's really going to help you out. And because you can't build on those bottom islands where the gold hexes are and the other ports are, then having science bonus kind of negates needing to go down there, unless you want to go all the way down there with the intention of taking longest road. If the main island, as you see, gets too crowded, try to be able to work your roads through all the other people's areas in all the canal spaces to take longest road that way, it might be too hard. So the one benefit still, even if you have science bonus of building down to the gold hex or one of the ports, is to be able to take longest road and kind of secure it, because if you go that way, no one's going to be able to place knights along any of your ships. They'd really have to go out of the way to do that, to cut up your longest road length. Gene's turn. I have 10 cards, so don't roll a 7. There goes a 4, so I'm going to get some more brick. I could build 2 more roads if I so desired. And currently, no one has longest road, or does Gray have it with 8? I'm in my iMovie editor. It's hard to read all the tiny little numbers on the screen by the player icons. Okay, there goes a 6. There's more paper. I also got Master Merchant. Unfortunately, I'm in the lead. And I don't have the trade bonus, so I can't trade in 2 coin for a 3rd paper. Yeah, Gray definitely has longest road. That's definitely an 8 length shipping route, if you will. Because technically it is called the longest shipping route when you add in seafarers. Ships plus roads equals shipping route, and just roads is longest road. But they still call it longest road whenever you achieve it, even in Cities and Knights with seafarers. So all these cards, and I still cannot trade in anything for a 3rd paper. How can you have 14 cards and you're not able to get science bonus? That is just hilarious to me, but it's also extremely frustrating, because right now that's basically what I need to really boost my game ahead and actually get something going here. Because this whole game I've been kind of lackluster. I've been kind of just scraping along, trying to get any resource cards I can, trying to do any 4-for-1 trade I can to keep knights activated to get a city back on the board. So now I will connect up my ships to my road system that has a knight on it. So hopefully I can activate that knight next turn once I can get a wheat, and I can move the knight down to touch the ore port to then trade in ore to 2-for-1 rate, because I have 3 ore hexes that are pretty good, and that will allow me to get either the 3rd paper I need or some wheat to then really start doing well in this game. There goes irrigation by Orange, so we talked about earlier. Orange did get 2 wheat off that, because Orange is built on a wheat hex. Even though it's not producing anything, irrigation still works just fine. And look at that. So that is actually a very interesting play there with Orange. So they activated their level 2 knight, and Blue already had a level 2 knight activated And because of the exact spot placements that each knight is in, they were able to activate 2 canal hexes at once, simultaneously. So each knight was touching both the 5 sheep and the 11 sheep, and as soon as that second knight became activated, they both got 1 victory point for each of the canal spots. So imagine if Orange also had the other knight for themselves. If Blue's knight was actually one of Orange's knights, and Orange activated the second knight on those 2 exact spots, Orange would have gotten 4 victory points in that single turn. Now that's an impressive thing to try to be able to do. If you ever play the Great Canal in an online match, try to do that if you can. It might be very tough to get that exact setup to be possible and play out. But if you could get 4 victory points off of just activating 2 knights in that exact setup where both your knights are touching 2 different canal spots, then that would be a very unorthodox and very impressive play. So now it looks like we have 3 canals that are excavated, 6 more to go. Of course, only 5 more need to be excavated, and then the 9th one will automatically connect up the entire canal. So it looks like the 1 water hex that's in the middle of the 5 sheep, 10 ore, 5 ore, 8 ore, and all that is the water. And once the canals are all excavated, the water is drawn through all the canals, and then it gets deposited in the wheat field. And then that's how the wheat fields become fertile. So that's just another little bit of story, I guess, that they were going for in the background as you're playing this specific special scenario. So Orange has a level 1 knight activated on the 4 brick, and if Orange activates their level 2 knight, they're going to get that 2 victory points from that canal spot on the 4 brick. But if Gray activates either one of their knights, then they're going to split the 2 victory points with Gray or with Orange, and they'll get 1 apiece. So now it's Orange turn. They have 5 cards. There goes Engineer. They may not, they're going to pass the dice. They probably don't have any wheat because the computer would probably activate that knight immediately. And then Gray is also in a good spot to share victory points from the canal excavation on the 6th lumber that Gray and I are built on. I'm just trying to see if I could get 2 knights on that spot first and activate them before Gray activates their 1 level 1 deactivated knight on that 6th lumber. But again, we'll see what happens here. I do have to burn cards off the 7. I was going to trade in 4 ore for a 3rd paper and finally get the science bonus. I do have Inventor. And there goes another 4. So I get Wedding, but I'm still just barely tied with Blue for the lead. So I was hoping Blue would have been in the lead, but I'm going to have to wait a little while longer. And Blue does have Merchant, so if Merchant gets taken away, it's going to pull Blue back down to 7. And I'll have to wait that much longer because I now have 2 Wedding cards. So again, some of these Blue Progress cards are really good in normal Cities and Knights gameplay. But in this specific scenario, victory points can sometimes be hard to come by if you don't have the right setup. But now I'm at a point where I have Green City Improvements level 2. I also have Yellow City Improvements level 2, so I'm not just getting Blue Progress cards. And I do have a Deserter now, so that's going to be coming handy a great deal. Because in any game of Cities and Knights, you want all different colors of progress cards coming your way. It's going to help you out in any scenario of Cities and Knights, but specifically in the Great Canal, I think the best way to start off is with Green City Improvements. Like I said, to get that science bonus, but there's also Road Building, Alchemist, Engineers, so you can hold more cards, so you won't have to constantly be burning cards up a 7 when you're trying to do 4-for-1 trades. What else do we have in the green progress card? Alchemist, so you can get exactly what you need to gather up maybe 4 brick to trade that in at a 4-for-1 rate. And then we also have Smith. Yeah, Smith is okay, but you mainly just need 2 level 1 knights and then just keep activating them as you move them along all the different canal hexes. So that's not totally important. Maybe later on, if there's more cities on the board, you could use Smith to upgrade those knights. So I will steal a knight with Deserter, and the best play is probably, yeah, right there to put it on that 6 lumber to try to race gray to see if I can get both canal victory points or just one. I do have a second deserter, so I had 2 weddings and 2 deserters in my hand on the same turn, which is also very unorthodox. When does that ever happen, right? And I can just actually steal from blue once again because I already had 2 level 1 knights and I stole a level 2 knight because that's all blue had, and blue has another level 2 knight, so I'll just go ahead and I'll take that one. And curiously, I was not able to place that knight on the ore port spots. I had to place it on the 8 ore, so maybe I have to activate it and then move it down to the ore port that's off of the main island. I thought you'd be able to build directly on a offshore island, but maybe you have to build on the main island first and then move your knight off of the main island once you've already built it. Or maybe that's the case with just specifically deserter, but that wouldn't really make much sense. And there goes the politics bonus for blue. So now me, blue, and gray are all tied in the race to get the blue metropolis. But at this point, we're still pretty far away from 18 victory points, so I'm more concerned with getting canal victory points and possibly even that science bonus if I don't roll a 7. There goes wedding, so I do have to give away 2 cards. And now I'm at 8 cards, so if I once again roll a 7, I will not get the science bonus. I'm so close. Can it just happen this next dice roll? Hopefully no 7. I've been waiting this long to get it. Let's actually get something going this game and start getting some wheat so I can start activating some knights, so I can start getting canal victory points. Waiting up on gray to finish their turn. Okay, now to me, the crucial, pivotal moment. And it's a 3. Okay, finally. There goes Warlord. Excellent. So I can activate. Okay, so with Warlord, I'm going to activate all my knights. And the 6 lumber did not instantly turn into a excavated canal. So that is very curious. I mean, we have 3 knights on there instead of just 2. Huh. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. It should have been instantly excavated. And now the knights are back to being deactivated, but I did get the science bonus. I did get Defender of Catan victory point as well. So those might actually kind of fly under the radar, getting Defender of Catan victory points, but if a game is going to take a lot of turns and the barbarians attack in this scenario a bunch of times, it actually might be worthwhile trying to make sure you get, at least 3 or 4 Defender of Catan victory points throughout the game, so that late game you're in a very competitive mode to be able to win. There we had to give up 2 ore. Let's see what gray rolls. Hopefully get my first science bonus here. Nope, it's going to be a 7. And I still don't know why I didn't get the victory points from excavating the canal and the 6 lumber hex there. There was more than 2 knights activated. I at least should have split the victory points there with Nasir, with gray, gotten 1 apiece. And another 7 is rolled. Oh, joy. All I want to do is get science bonus, but these 7s are holding me up. 7 will definitely be the most rolled number of this whole game. I'm almost certain of it. And Luis and me and Blue were all tied for the green metropolis. In our quest for that, we all have the science bonus. There goes a 5. I do have a 5, so I don't get the wheat yet. I'm looking for a wheat. Come on, Blue, help me out. There goes an 8. I have an 8. And medicine is going to come in handy if I can. All I need to do is get science bonus, then I can essentially get a city with medicine, because I only need 2 ore and 1 wheat. There goes another 5. But now at this point it's okay, because I can 4 for 1 my ore for 1 single wheat, and I'll still have enough ore left over to build a city with medicine. And I think with that master merchant, gray actually took from blue instead of me. So blue and I are tied. I still cannot use wedding. And finally, with that science bonus, I'm going to take a wheat. And I could put another city back on the board. I'll go ahead and spy. Oh, there's Alchemist and Bishop and Medicine. All very good cards right now to take. But I think I might want to go for Alchemist just so I can make sure I roll exactly what I need on my next turn. Bishop will come around, but Bishop is not totally game-shattering because in this scenario, there's only a lot of sheep or lumber and brick, and this late in the game, everybody has a bunch of those things. Plus, there's a bunch of knights out on the board at this point, so chasing away wherever the robber is placed with Bishop will not be that big of a deal, especially because a lot of us have science bonus, so we'll be getting a certain amount of wheat. Not a lot of wheat, but hopefully some wheat as we progress through this late stage of the game. So I'll go ahead, I'll activate my level 1 knight, and I shared that 9 canal spot with orange, so we each get a victory point off of that, so I'm up to 12 now. Oh, and I do have the merchant. Oh, okay. So for whatever reason, I have my 2 knights activated again on the 6 lumber, but this time I was able to get the 2 victory points from excavating the 6 lumber canal, even though I thought I did last turn. I don't know what the difference was. Maybe because I had just built a knight there technically, or built that second knight there technically, because I used Deserter and stole that level 2 knight away from blue. So maybe the knights have to already be there and then a turn has to pass, and then if they're still activated, then you get the canal excavation victory points. I guess that's how it goes, but now we're really close. It looks like blue has to excavate their 6 lumber at the top right of your screen. Same with that 4 brick, and then the 11 sheep, and then we are off to the wheat races. There goes a merchant from blue, so they steal it from me, and they put it on the same 5 ore, so now they can trade an ore to 2 reform rate. So it was nice. While it lasted for me, I was just able to trade in 2 ore for that second wheat to excavate that 6 lumber hex. And there goes Bishop from gray. And steals from all 3 of us, orange, green, and blue. Steals merchant away from blue and uses resource monopoly. Wow, great. A very good turn there. And I have Alchemist, but I only have a single brick. So I guess in certain scenarios when you're playing through Great Canal, certain times you might want to actually use Alchemist to roll a number you don't have that's also not a 7, so you could essentially trigger science bonus if you had it and get the wheat. That would be a very rare thing for someone to use Alchemist to roll the number they don't have just to get science bonus. It'd be because there's absolutely no wheat on the board. No one has wheat in their hand. That'd be exactly why you would want to do that. And orange will chase away the robber. So we are now 3, by my count, 3 canal hexes away from fertilizing those wheat hexes. There goes a 5. And I think the only thing I could do will be to go over to the 11 sheep and help Gray out in excavating that 11 sheep. But it's up to the computers to take care of the 4 brick and or the 6 lumber. But you see with the excavations I've done, it's boosted me up to 13 victory points. So it's no joke. Excavating these canal spots, it's actually very strategic to do so. You're not only helping other players, you're also helping yourself. So that's a win-win right there, right? We see that blue actually excavated that 6 lumber, so now there's just 2 spaces left. So the victory points are either going to go to just orange on the 4 brick, or just gray, or 1 and 1, depending on who activates what knights. So there will be a canal victory points coming very soon here. Unless I can build, I now have 4 roads in my hand, so unless I can build all the way around to the 11 sheep and move my knights over there, but then I have to reactivate them. So I will take a wheat. And with road building, wow, road building and you have 4 lumber and 4 brick in your hand, what a crazy sequence to be able to pull off there. So I'll reactivate the knight. And I might just build my roads looking ahead to the canal being able to be excavated here pretty soon. And there we go. The canal is fully excavated. So we are on my own. I excavated the 11 sheep. I got 2 more victory points to put me up to 15 victory points. And that 4 brick, that was the last hex for a canal excavation site, was automatically excavated as per the rules. If 8 other hexes, canal hexes, are excavated, the 9th automatically becomes excavated. And now you see that there is a stream of water running through all 9 hexes straight to the middle of the wheat field, and that the middle of the wheat field used to be a desert. It is now changed to a water hex. So the continuity is there. It all makes sense. And the best wheat hex is the 6 wheat, which I am just about to build on myself. And we are 3 victory points away from winning. So yeah, this is it's actually not too bad of a scenario. At first, I think I was kind of put off by it because I was trying to figure out what the strategy was, but now I have a better idea of how to effectively play this special scenario. It's actually pretty fun. Now I am also tied with Gray for longest road. So if I build one more road, longest road's mine, I'll be up to 17 victory points. And I now have 4 paper in my hand, so I could also get the green metropolis, because Gray is nowhere near getting the green metropolis. Orange and blue will be taking turns after me. So the green metropolis is mine this turn if I want it. And there goes the 7, of course. The party had to end sometime soon. Everything was going pretty well here late in the game. And then the 7 just comes in to wreck everything. And I'm actually going to get rid of all my paper because I am not just in it to win in this specific video. I'm just kind of trying to bring you guys a tutorial of the Great Canal, bring you a walkthrough. So I don't want to win right away before I explore everything. So the only thing that I have left to do is try to build a settlement on my 6 lumber and then build a ship off of it to touch the wood port and then place a knight there, so I can show you guys that when you go to your trade-in screen, when you trade in cards at the bank, it will change from a 4-for-1 rate to a 2-for-1 rate just by having a knight built on the lumber port spot, I should say. Of course, I'm still going to win this game. I have way more victory points than anyone else. Blue is the only one that's kind of in contention. They have 10, and if they get they can get 2 metropolises, go up to 14 victory points. But I got a feeling I got some time to showcase to you guys the off the main island port scenario before that happens. There goes trade monopoly, so they're going to take cloth from everyone. That's fine with me. Okay, so they get the trade bonus. So now they can have any metropolis they want, because currently there are 0 metropolises built on this board. And that's okay with me. It gives me just enough time to do what I got to do. And then I can take longest road after I build the settlement on the 6 lumber and showcase you guys that lumber port spot with the knight. And then I'm out of here with a victory. So yeah, what do you guys think about the Great Canal scenario? Have you played it? Do you love it? Just from watching this video, what do you think about it? I think it looks pretty cool. It's taking cities and knights and just putting a little bit of differentiation on it, not making it too crazy or extreme, but adding just enough more rules to kind of spice up your normal cities and knights gameplay, because after a while, maybe you get a little tired or bored of cities and knights, and I get that because there's only so many different seafarer scenarios. I wish in Catan Universe they would actually add in more seafarer scenarios, just to, well, I guess this is technically a different seafarer scenario, but I like these special scenarios. I guess I just wish they would add more cities and knights special scenarios, because I'm not sure how many people play basic Catan versus play cities and knights, but we already know that my favorite expansion is cities and knights, especially with seafarers. So adding just more ways to change up your strategies, adding different scenarios to, keep it fresh and fun, I'm all for that. So with that 10 roll, I have a bunch of cards. I actually got my 10 taken away from me. Or maybe I did give it away with Inventor earlier. So I have 8 ore in my hand. I have 5. I could build 4 roads, and I have a bunch of ore as well. So what I'll probably do is trade in 4 ore for a wheat, build a settlement on the 6th lumber spot on the coastline, and then I'll cast off with a ship, and hopefully I'll be able to build a night on that lumber port. And actually, before I do that, I'm going to get the trade bonus just so I can start trading in commodities at a 2-for-1 rate just for what I'm trying to do here. So now I can trade in 2 paper for the wheat. And okay, here goes the settlement right on that 6 lumber. And now I'm just ship away. And then after that, I'll probably need to get another sheep so I can build a night. But Commercial Harbor is also in my hand, so technically, in an indirect way, I can get more commodities, trade them back in at a 2-for-1 rate to be able to build that night. But for now, just activate my level 2 night, and then I'll see if I can move that night to the lumber port on my next turn. Here goes a 5. I now have Alchemist. I now have 1 progress card of every color. How nice is that? There goes Irrigation. And even now that the fields are fertile, Irrigation still works, just like it has the whole game. Orange is now up to 9 victory points, and they are finally on a 3-for-1 port. So Gray had the right idea with building on a 3-for-1 port. Orange just now got to a 3-for-1 port. They had the right idea. It just took them most of the game to be able to get to a 3-for-1 port. Blue actually started out on a 3-for-1 port. I'm the only one that doesn't have one. There goes Deserters. So of course I'm not going to get rid of my level 2 knight that I just activated. I'll get rid of one of my other ones. And even if a 7 in this roll, I should be able to still move that knight and then reactivate it on the lumber port. And then beyond that, I can go ahead and win this game and finish out showcasing you guys the Great Canal. But yeah, if I do play more of the Great Canal or the Enchanted Lands special scenario, I'll definitely have to get some scrolls so I can play these scenarios online for a limited time. Or if I really want to, I can buy them in the Catan Universe online shop. I believe it's 300 gold for both scenarios. Hopefully it's not 300 gold for just one. I think it's for both. But Rise of the Inca is 500 gold, and I think Rise of the Inca will be more fun to me. That's just my personal opinion. I'll have to play it some more. But I think having that one as an entire expansion on its own, and it's just so much different from Cities and Knights that I think I would have more fun just playing a different expansion of Catan rather than just like a slightly modified version of Cities and Knights. So with Alchemist, I'll go ahead and roll the 9. This will probably be my last turn, so I can go ahead and finish this game out. I have 20 cards, and I didn't roll 7 because I said no to a 7 with my Alchemist. So I move the knight, and you see, even the knight is deactivated, I can still now trade lumber into a 2-for-1 rate. So you see that on the screen right there on the left side. So that can also be beneficial to you guys if you're playing the Great Canal scenario and you have a bunch of one type of resource X on the main island, and you can manage to get off the main island and go build on the port that matches up with whatever resource you have a lot of, and then throughout the game you can trade in a 2-for-1 rate, and that will really help you out. So again, I want to thank you guys for watching. This has been the Great Canal Cities and Knights special scenario. I had some fun playing it. I think I'm going to have to try to play it online now that I have a better idea of what to do. Get that Metropolis as fast as you can. Hopefully get the Green Metropolis and thus the science bonus, because that's going to help you a lot in this scenario. And then from there, you can go ahead and start trying to get more canal excavation victory points to really boost your victory point total, and that might be the recipe for lots of success in this special scenario. So with that merchant placement, I'll go to 18 victory points, and that's the game. If you guys play 3-player Great Canal, let me know how that goes. That could be absolutely just madness and take forever. But again, this has been Unorthodox Master Games playing his favorite game. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.